What's up guys, and welcome back to TechPlan. Today I'm super excited for this video. I worked really hard and it actually turned out really well. We're going to make a tiny, probably the world's tiniest orchid box for one of the tiniest orchid species out there. So let's check it out. To get started, I picked up some wood from my local hardware store. These are a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by maybe like 36 inches. And these were about like 60 to 80 cents a piece, so very cheap. So this is a very cost-effective project. Once you've got the wood, decide on the size of like the inner part of the box, and then just add twice the thickness of the wood, just so that way you have exactly what you expected and you don't forget about the wood thickness that would eat up the actual inside space. Next, you're going to want to decide kind of like the depth of your box. I'm going to make mine about 3 tall. So you're going to multiply that by 4 for all 4 sides. So I'm cutting 12. I ended up using power tools because I did not have a saw blade with small enough teeth. So the saw blade itself took off probably 1/8 of an inch. So I had to like remeasure every time. Lastly, you're going to need some slats for the actual bottom so that everything doesn't just fall through, because we're not trying just to make like a tube here. We actually want to make more of a basket. So I did take a thin saw blade and kind of cut down the center of it, splitting the wood, and that would give me kind of some thinner slats. You could use the very thick ones and that'd be fine, but for whatever reason I decided to go with this way. Before I actually ever complete anything, I like to kind of like rough set it up and kind of get an idea for what it's going to look like, and that can help guide me on things I should change in the process or whatever. So I just kind of roughly put it together how I think it's going to look before proceeding any further. Now I know you can just glue all these together, but I don't know how well that's going to hold up, because these are going to be getting wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry continuously. So I decided I wanted to hook them together with kind of a pin to guarantee it doesn't fall apart. To make sure I got the holes in kind of the right spot, I just kind of measured half the width of the wood inwards from the ends. Now I kind of eyeballed the center. I think it's not too bad on a piece this size because you can kind of clearly see it, but do make sure you're pretty accurate because the pins aren't going to line up very well if you make mistakes. Once you have everything marked up and looking well, this is where it comes to the most important part. We're going to center punch all of these holes. This is especially necessary for when you're using really tiny drill bits, because these things like to wander when you try and first start your hole. And you don't want to just kind of like go ham with the drill bit, because you might get off center holes because it's going to hit the wood and it will travel and bend a little bit before it finds like a soft spot, causing inaccuracies. So take a hard piece of metal and kind of like jab it into the marking and make a depression so that there's somewhere for the drill bit to start. Once you've got your pieces all center punched, make sure to take your time and just drill all those holes all the way through. After that, you can go and kind of sand them up and clean them up a little bit because they're probably pretty rough in the current state. To get the structure started, I'm going to start with the slats at the very bottom. I put some glue on here and I actually fiddled with like a lot of different methods to get this to work, and I ended up just sticking with just glue on one side. And the reason for that is if you try and glue all 4 sides on your 2 slats and kind of completely permanently cement all 4 pieces together, if you're off in any way, it will kind of like follow on through the rest of your structure, because everything's going to follow the base. So if you just glue the one side on the one like main piece with the holes in it, no matter what happens, the slats can move a little bit on the far side and allow you to kind of straighten up your structure towards the end. And again, you're dealing with such a small box that the structural integrity will not be harmed, and that glue will do just fine. I even tried to make like mini nails out of staples, but I just couldn't get anything to be driven into the wood, and I gave up on that, and the glue seemed to do just fine. This part is kind of interesting because I chose to use aluminum wire, which I definitely don't think I would recommend again. I think I would choose paper clips because they're going to be a little stronger and they won't break as easy, and just overall like more accessible. To start the custom pins, I made kind of like a little bend on the bottom and then kind of doubled it up just so that way it can't pull through the holes. So this is going to be kind of like on the underside. Try and get your pins as straight as you can, but it isn't too necessary. As you put the wood pieces on, they kind of self-straighten to some extent, so don't worry too much if your paper clips or your wire is all bent up. It'll kind of work out in the end. But start by getting your first 2 base pieces and kind of putting the wires up through, and then you're just kind of going to build like almost like a log cabin style. So you're just going to alternate parallel pieces and just keep sliding them down on the wires, building that pattern that you see in the video. It's kind of a pain because my wires are not very straight, but the straighter you get them, the easier it's going to be. And again, you're just kind of building up the structure. You can make this as tall as you want. You just have to cut more pieces, or you can even experiment with different shapes. I'm doing a cube just because that's how most of them look, but you can make a hexagon, octagon. It would just require more pieces. And again, you just keep alternating those patterns. That's all it really takes. To finish off the actual base, this is where it's going to take a little bit of pressure and a little bit of like ingenuity and bending skills. You're going to want to kind of hold the structure tight and bend that wire down against the wood nice and tight with tension, because that's going to kind of keep everything in place. I'm not using glue for this structure, so I can always take it apart and free my plant once the roots get too thick or whatever. So just, it's using the tension of the bent metal to hold everything together. Once I got all four corners kind of tensioned, and make sure again you kind of do them in a pattern, so like on both sides they face the same direction, because it's going to be important for this next part where we actually fold them kind of back up and create loops, because I want to hang this from rope, so I definitely need to make kind of like hooks or loops. Once you get your hooks or loops, or kind of whatever you decide on, I mean, you can mix it up here at this point and do whatever you want. Just make sure the main first bend that we made keeps everything under tension, and after that you can kind of create any hook loop thing that you want. Once you've finished that, just kind of snip off the remaining material, because again, we kept these pins a little longer than usual, so we had plenty of material to work with. Alright, so now that we got the world's smallest orchid box built, it's time to put our orchid in there. I'm going to use a little bit of sphagnum moss and put it in the thing, just so I have some substrate for my orchid to grab onto. If you had an orchid with lots of roots, you might be able to get away with just kind of plopping it in there, but I kind of like to use a little substrate. Once it's all potted up, take a look at your awesome creation and see kind of how cute and cool it is. This was actually something I really enjoyed making. It was a lot of fun to kind of like replicate a normal like orchid box planter, but make it super miniature. Now my original goal was to hang this thing up, so I needed some rope or twine, so I found some and I cut 4 like equal parts. And check this out, guys. I had an extra like slat piece with the holes drilled into it, so I ran 2 sides or each sides of the rope up through the holes, and then I kind of tied them off with a little bit more wire, and I have this really nice, cool looking hanger. This is something I'm like really proud of making, and I feel like it would like belong on like Pinterest or something. It actually has like an aesthetic to it, where normally things I create always are kind of junky and like, I don't know, I'm kind of not really envious, but I guess I really appreciate the aesthetic that a lot of these other plant pages have, where it's like the nice white walls with the very simple, I don't know, everything looks really nice, but when you look at all my stuff, it's kind of just junky looking and just not so like nice and aesthetic. But this thing here, I believe, turned out nice and aesthetic, and I really do like it, and I'm really proud of it. I'm gonna go ahead and claim it's the world's tiniest orchid box, just because I've never seen anything this size. But anyways, I really love this, and I hope you guys can follow this guide and make one for yourself as well. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. It might have been a little long for you, but I hope you thought it was cool. This is probably the most like artsy crafty thing I've done so far on this channel. I think it turned out really awesome. I really like that little metal spiral I put on there and the little cross beam. Everything just kind of turned out well for this for the first time ever, and I thought it looked totally awesome. I really like this. I'm going to try and make some other videos on making other orchid planters in different styles and just different methods, because this one is kind of different and unique because it's so tiny and scaled down. So I would like to make some normal ones for normal orchids. So anyways, stay tuned for those, and as always, may your plants grow strong and healthy. I'll see you next time.